Okay.
I move to appoint Owens as the auditor for the financial statements of 12/31/25.
And they also do part of 2026, just so you know, they do a couple of. And they do the audit. So I'll second that motion, absolutely.
Hold on, I need a document.
Further discussion?
Hold on, I need a document.
Again, quickly, sir.
Video?
Okay, so say that again, what's the motion?
Can members speak up now?
Well, if we're gonna do a motion, we do a motion new business, so we're just having a conversation about financials.
Oh, okay, as long as they do, absolutely, it's not a problem.
New business, because there's some.
I have some more questions about the finances.
Make a motion to ratify Owens.
Alright, well, let's do that in new business.
We'll do it
Oh,
in
you
a bit.
did, okay.
Right, now my follow-up is I have more financial questions. Want to save it for new business or?
Well, you can ask questions now, but we'll do the motions.
Oh, okay. My concern is that I've been involved in the village for like 18 years. And,
Monthly reports of what, Bill?
well, we would get a delinquency summary by transaction, distribution of funds. We would get a cash flow statement, bank reconciliation. We would get a general ledger of all transactions and all accounts. We got a lot of documents, okay? But it was our fiduciary responsibility to review these and question every single transaction and audit to make sure our funds are being kept and spent properly. When I get a P&L statement from 2.5 months ago, I say, what's going on? My question is, why can't we get up-to-date statements out of QuickBooks and C3?
What you were receiving was occurring from a bookkeeper that just retired after 47 years and doing the job. We do not have someone in that seat. Watchword for accounting right now, given everything that's going on, is to determine whether business reason to generate any reports. Yes, there are legacy reports that the person who's in the seat now, as the acting bookkeeper, really doesn't know about. She was never fully trained. And if there is value to be added by these suggesting, then we absolutely will reinstitute. There needs to be a conversation about it, because so many things that were done in accounting were inefficient and paper-based and just not what the technology affords in 2026.
Okay, I'm not concerned about paper-based, I'm not concerned about technology. I'm concerned about protecting the assets of our village and making sure they're spent properly. You mentioned that we're involved in this delinquency, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
How are we involved?
You just stated in your treasury report.
We are reporting on
Reporting.
delinquencies.
Yes, you have not given me or any other board directors information at all of who is delinquent. I have a 31-page breakdown, but I used to get a delinquency summary that showed payments, when payments were made, prior fiscal, and all that. This is all information that board members needed to do their job properly.
But we did request that, we've been requesting that over the past 2 months, that is a delinquency report that comes from the office manager in all the work where they stand, and that is the information we requested through dates to come to the office manager.
Right, okay. And quote unquote, you stated, yes, the golden days of excellent financials. How do I get the golden days back?
Well, if we knew what they were, if you were to share and say, I need report A for these business reasons, I need report B for those business reasons. We are happy to reinstitute. Knowledge transfer has not occurred, and you could be the perfect individual to share with us on what occurred, because I certainly don't know.
That is correct, and that is why, first of all, I don't have to justify why I need a certain report. Okay, I am entitled to receive every single financial document in the village, especially as a board member. Okay, every homeowner is entitled to, it's by law. And I'm asking these reports how can we get these reports so we know what's going on?
Well, I've always respected your familiarity with Pennsylvania law. It's certainly not a skill that I can bring to the table. And if you want to come to us with citing the law and you absolutely need to do your job, then we will visit that topic and reinstitute whatever truly is legally required and which adds value to each board member's ability to perform their fiduciary duty. We are willing to listen. There hasn't been a conversation.
Who is we? Who is we? You said we. The board. When did the board make a decision to restrict these documents?
Can I just clarify, you're skewing reality here right now. So no one is withholding anything from anyone. We are currently in a transition period where we went from manually entering every transaction that was not happening, quite frankly. So it's not that we weren't getting it and not giving it to you or any of that matter. It was not getting done. Team of Locust Lake Village owned in time to give to anyone. That is why we just got February's at the time we did not. They wasn't holding it, but it took that long from a manpower perspective to get it. It has been transitioned to the CFO Your Way, which took a long time because they would take the login ability to get into the systems to manage and access things. So it did take an enormous long period of time. I don't think it was acceptable nor appropriate, but it was the reality that we faced with legacy systems that were difficult for people to get into and comprehend and do. January, those have been done for February for basic reporting. Would that be a fair statement to say?
Right,
For basic reporting. The transition is now happening to QuickBooks Online because we voted that in last month, correct? So we are waiting on the payment to the company to then shift it into QuickBooks Online. And Tad, it would be helpful if you could give an estimated time that it will take once the system is turned on. We anticipate that it would get March, April, and then May.
First, let me ask questions because, couple of things. One, the reports can be run. Next question.
Wait for homeowners' comments, please.
At the end, we should be able to
At
ask
the
that.
end.
We should have- Okay, I don't think that's.
That's a comment, not a question.
We're allowed to ask questions.
We have a question. It's owner's comments, not owner's questions.
Can we finish
I
our
didn't think we were
discussion?
finished with
Yeah,
Bill.
I'm having a good conversation.
All right, thanks.
Okay,
Well,
Can
Sherry.
you let Pat answer that question?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
So-
sorry, what was the question?
So right now,
Oh, you asked the timeline.
the time.
You know, any system conversion, and Mike, who's an engineer, will swear to this. You start out with a project plan, you create a timeline, you follow the steps, and then things happen. My best case scenario is that a month from now, we will be on QuickBooks Online. But there are a couple of janky things that could throw a wrench into the works, like the fact that we use C3. Right now, we could use QuickBooks for everything, but for some reason, C3 is out there. A lot of data, because all of the owner data is loaded into that, that's where all the delinquency data is loaded. How are we going to do that? I'm not clear in my mind how that's going to be integrated. Need to be ironed out. The employee needs to be trained on how to do it. We have, as I explained, we're thankfully down to 4 banks, but we have 16 bank accounts in 5 different banks. And there are electronic feeds that need to be set up with all of those banks. In addition to those, we've got vendors, payment vendors like Square, Heartland, several of them. All of those need to be set up into QuickBooks so that the transactions feed automatically into QuickBooks. Anything could happen with a glitch in those. So a month is what I'm thinking is going to take, but
Once the transition to QuickBooks happens, then
Yes.
we should see immediately, I mean, you could get multiple months.
as you see, this is slow. And relying on our internal staff to prepare the bank reconciliations, which needs to occur before you close the month in, has been a bottleneck. Because, as I said, February was only done two weeks ago by our staff.
I think Mr. Waltrip has a question.
Mike,
Can't hear you.
use the mic.
Board of Directors Manual 2020. Here it is again. There was a derogatory comment made at one of our meetings as far as workshops about me suing the district. I want to clarify that. My lawsuit was as far as the correct problems that we were having. Okay? So it was dismissed, not because it wasn't good. So, my lawyer screwed up. Anyway, Owens did his report, and here we are here as far as 2025, we're in May. I don't see, I'm trying to see where we have here, I haven't, to my knowledge, I don't believe I've seen that we contacted an attorney to do, not attorney, excuse me, a CPA to do an audit. If I go back to policies back in 2014, our policy was audits, okay, accounting will be complete audit defined by the American Institute of Public Accountants when the following exists: change in management, change in bookkeeping. We had a new manager since the beginning of the year. Our bookkeeper was retired, but she's still working here part-time. As far as I know, we're not doing an audit on any of it. Being involved with the association for such a long time, living here full time, that there's a lot of information, okay, that is not being aware or given out to the community to see what's going on. Finances that we had here, or accounting firms. Yes, we have some accounting firms, but we're not being definitive in regards to what the deliverable is and a date for that. Bill is bringing up in regards to, he doesn't feel, I guess, the information that you're getting.
What information?
Sorry, Bill, okay? But the fact is, okay, I've asked for a number of cases that have been on this board as well as other boards. Received zero. Well, maybe one or two items. The rest of the stuff was at the manager's office. When I finally got on the board, Wade, who took over the manager's position after the manager left, he said, fine, here's 7 boxes, okay, of all your requests as far as to get this thing ironed out. Okay, if you want it now, you can see it after 4 years. That's 4 years. I'm on the board now for what, 3 or 4 or 5 months, okay? I still don't have the stuff. And as I said, I'm a board member, and I'm asking for certain things, okay, to do my fiduciary duties financially as well as seeing that the village is running properly. Okay, I don't see that at all. I really don't.
Can I just respond to a couple of those? Can I respond to a couple of those?
Sure, absolutely.
Going back to the audit, so I think that we are struggling because not everyone on the board is together with all the conversations and maybe attending this groups with different pieces. It was, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, it was discussed amongst the majority of the board who was there. This was last month's workshop, not this one that just occurred. We need to move forward with Owens doing the audit, and that was the plan to move forward. They did not make it officially, I think, to a ratification of a vote because there was very little in the agenda prep for this week. I think that's a good call that we need to go ahead and ratify that now while we have a quorum. But that was explicitly discussed and stated. I think we are struggling because not everyone is coming to the workshops or available to the workshops. I did in this most recent one add minutes and action items because I feel like we are suffering from not everyone being present, remembering or knowing the conversations that occur. To go back to the second point on like personal requests, when I was interim director or chair last year, like there were many things that were requested and made available, but at that time, those are the things in the box in the office of the manager. Even then, I said, here's the items you've requested. If you want to come in and see them, you're more than welcome to come in and see them. So I just want to clarify, it wasn't the things were withheld or not given. They were made available at that time of those requests. I just want to speak to the pieces that I did make available to you.
So I asked, and I said, fine, it's gonna cost me money to make a hard copy. I have a busy schedule, I can't come into the office to sit there, I do a lot of work at night. I asked for this specifically, I'll pay for it to make copies so I can review it on my own time. Okay?
I can't speak on this and that because you do have a,
I'm not gonna argue, but what Bill said, okay, or any other member, okay, something, we are board members and we have a right to see this stuff, okay, to do our duty.
I fully agree.
I mean,
I fully agree.
and I'm sorry, it hasn't been there.
Agreed, we don't have all of the detailed reports on finances because they're not executed yet.
Okay, what is CFO doing for us? You hired this firm, what are they?
I didn't hire, the board hired the firm.
Well, if the board hired it, then there's gotta be a motion in the minutes, so is there a motion in the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, and there's an RFP, what are they specifically hired to do? Why are you spending $3,000?
Prepare the financial statements. January 1st financial.
How are they getting
They
this
actually, so the
information?
minutes had a very clear scope to simply, close the January and February books, because the motion was made in December, if I'm remembering correctly. December, we ratified in January.
No, I think it was later because we realized that we
Once
weren't
we
getting
discovered it, we
financials
could
in
not-
February.
The internal team could not produce what was needed. So then we, outsourced CFO your way, with a very limited scope, in order to do an assessment and do January financial.
Right, my question is, how are they inputting these financials? How
Now,
do they
that's,
get stuff?
Sherry spoke to that, because we have, desktop-based systems, they're not cloud-based. We have to have CFO your way log into a computer in our office. It's remote in, yes, and it's a rather complicated set of arrangements, but that's how they're getting into the system electronically. They're working virtually, everything is
So
electronic.
Kathleen, prior to retirement, which took the longest time, I think there was anticipation we would have more work completed in the first 3 to 4 weeks of the engagement. And instead, those 3 to 4 weeks primarily were spent getting access into the system, getting access into all the various aspects for the assessment piece. Once that assessment was completed and they understood and knew where to get all the data and transactions, they completed January, that was distributed to the board. And now they've completed February. Because it is so labor intensive and so time intensive, the recommendation that came to the board last month, or within this current workshop, in the previous 3 weeks, was to shift to QuickBooks Online, remove the desktop version, and then that would give us much more speed and efficiency.
Okay, I understand exactly what you're saying, but you're not answering my question.
Well, what is the question?
My question is, you get a bill in the mail, it goes to Locust Lake Village. How do they enter that? Do you take a scan it and they enter it in QuickBooks? How is the process done? If Deidre enters it, what are they doing? If Deidre's entering it in QuickBooks, I have a bill from Pocono Spray Patch for X number of dollars and I'm entering it under so-and-so. What is CFO doing when they log in? They say, oh, it's already entered. What are they
They're
physically doing?
producing the financial statements, they're closing the. Generating financials.
Transitioning us to the online.
Whether it's online or a desktop, it's the same thing. There's no radical changes. I use QuickBooks at home. I use Quicken. I'm familiar with this. I don't understand why we're spending for them to produce reports. If the information is added as it comes in, why can't a financial report be generated?
Well, that's a question, we
That's
asked
what
that
I'm asking
question.
you.
Okay. Tell you that the bookkeeper that has since retired, there is a turnaround time expected, and I will tell you, in normal HOAs, and we are investors in normal HOAs, within 7 days of the close of the month, you get a financial package. And I'm talking a clean financial package
As you
statement.
used to in the golden days.
Kathleen was not able to do that, neither for January on the cash basis or the accrual basis, nor for February. She was out of balance, there was no good communication on why she was not able to produce the financial package that she did.
Oh,
For clarity, I would like to speak on Kathleen's behalf and the office's behalf. We had an enormous amount of work coming to our financial team in all types of rework, all types of different requests. We had a very late budget season this past year. And what CFO Financial Your Way has discovered, we had a very laborious process for the bank reconciliation and the validation. While an entry point is put into QuickBooks, and that's the simple, easy way of like writing the check, it's the process of did it get paid, did it transit, did it move through? That is the process that there was numerous steps, manual processes and steps that took so long, and with combined workload and work effort, were becoming they were not able to sustain and maintain even within a month's time, much less getting the 60s.
Okay, my concern is everything is entered. Every invoice that we got, every bill is entered into QuickBooks as of May 15th, yesterday. QuickBooks can generate a cash report.
Get to the transactional report.
That is what, the thing is, that is the reports that I'm asking for, the general ledger. I'd like to see an income statement. How much money did we collect in dues this year versus 2025? I don't wanna see a month by month, I wanna see a year to date. Because if we're at 90% versus 80%, I have an idea. We don't have it. We have month by month, you divided it by 12. You don't have month by
But
month.
right column, that gives you the January, February total.
Okay, I don't have a year to date, and if you're gonna continue 12 by 12, have your budgeted number. It's not, I wanna see the actual physical number. Now, my next question is, C3, you're doing delinquency, you enter everybody's dues, you should be able to produce a
I don't
delinquency.
do delinquencies or enter anything. I enter
I'm
them.
telling you that a report can be generated from C3 tomorrow, today. Okay, Kathleen, Deidre can probably generate a report with delinquencies, aging delinquency, delinquency summaries, who paid, who didn't. Directors need to make judgments going forward. And I'm
And
not
this
seeing
is,
it.
it is a very robust conversation in all of our last workshops that we discussed multiple times. That was data that was asked of the board members, many board members, to wait, he produced us.
Okay, and we're not getting them, and that's my concern. And to say there's a standard, I have a standard to get reports? No. Mike's entitled to report. Dave's entitled, every single board member, every member of the community is entitled to get reports. Who are you to say, you can't get this report, you've got to justify it? No, I don't justify anything. I'm sorry.
So I just want to be clear, it is not.
Excuse me, delinquency reports with owner names are absolutely not something to be shared with the community.
I
I'm gonna
agree
correct you
100%
right
because
now.
it's against Pennsylvania law.
And it would be immoral.
Yes, but we share with the board of directors,
Correct.
okay?
But I just want to back again say, it is not that anyone at this table is withholding anything and not giving it to anyone.
Well, that's the impression I'm getting.
I get that that's what you think, and that is why I'm saying it publicly, that is not happening.
Nobody at the board here, the residents don't have that say. Who is stopping my information for the last 6 months of getting a piece of paper?
Which paper is that, Mike?
A resume out of an individual.
That,
All I get
that is
back,
acting manager.
excuse me, all I get back, why do you need to know that? Because I'm doing my due diligence, see if we have qualified people, so we have certified people, in regards to safety.
So we can sit here and we can argue and fight about it.
I'm not fighting.
I don't think you're fighting with me, I don't think you're fighting with me. We are airing out all of our dirty laundry, we wanna do that we can. That would not be anyone at this table currently today, that would be the acting manager who would have access to those documents and who would give those to you. I'm answering your question, correct?
No.
So it's my responsibility as a board director to go get it for you?
It went down to, yes, Wade was there, Dave was, and I had questions, that I said, fine, this is what I'm asking, they're saying, why do you need all this stuff? Because that's one of my functions here as a board of directors, to protect the community, to represent each individual of this community as far as where we're spending our money, and we're spending it wisely, and we have justification for doing this.
May I just make one point here? If we are all to request dozens and dozens of reports and never look at them, and many of us will never look at many of those reports because we see our need to do the job, then we are burdening owners because we're gonna need to hire staff to generate things that are going to sit around and gather dust and present security risks.
I agree with you, but the thing is,
It's just not a good use of
oh, wait a minute,
to produce reams of paper that no one will be using.
We should just trust you. We'll just trust you.
to go back.
Trust me what?
Wait, I read every single report, so don't say I don't read reports. I read those
I read
reports.
I didn't say anyone did or didn't, but
You
some,
People don't.
many people do.
Can we ask
I
questions?
think, I do think that what Pat stated was about Michael Check has asked for resumes or various other items. I think when you were referencing, what are we talking about?
Board meeting?
Bill, I can tell you though, before I left the treasurer position, we need to ask questions.
Hold on 1 second. I'm not saying we're not gonna talk, but now as secretary, we don't have someone to run the meeting, or we don't have a quorum to run a formal official board
Did
meeting.
you just resign?
That's ridiculous.
I don't know,
We
we
don't
don't
just
just go this So I'm going to close
Seems
the
like you
meeting.
resigned. We should formalize that.
I'm gonna close the meeting because I don't have a quorum.
We started the meeting.
We don't have
Oh.
vice directors.
Close the
We
meeting.
started with
Well,
five.
What about members' comments?
And please, can we pause? I'm not saying we're leaving.
We
I am
started.
the secretary. It is my signature who goes down on what is happening. I'm holding 2 Robert's rules into our bylaws. Is that acceptable?
Well, you didn't do that before you started because you put not applicable on old news and not applicable on new news on the agenda, which is against Robert's rules. The agenda that you set out yesterday for today's meeting, you have old news not applicable.
That comes from the office. It doesn't come from me. That was done in
It's still us not following Robert's rules.
Okay, can we do one thing at a time?
Could you just give me a second, please?
My absolute. Financial reports we Friday last, so depending on the reports from Quick Loss, I have these up until February 20th. Let us ask questions.
I will let you ask questions, I promise.
We
Can you just give me a minute to decide whether or not we close out the meeting at this time or I keep it running? So,
Should find out if he resigned as well.
someone wanna call him?
Did Dave resign?
Yeah.
No, he said he was done.
Well, you can't say.
Yeah, I think he meant he's done with the
That means
board.
he's not.
I think he means he was done the meeting or he was done the board. I did not.
So our acting community manager here and acting chair just can walk out whenever he wants.
Well, also for people aren't here.
And
Yeah, I'll just see him, don't worry, sorry.
Could I? Hold it for a second. Do you remember? I lost if we start the meeting with a number of people versus any.
Commissioner can't have a meeting.
Right.
So I will say that it would be appropriate because members' comments and members' questions and old business and new business are part of the meeting. I would feel that the appropriate thing to do would be to close out the meeting.
And just have maybe a session.
If you want to do that, that's up to you. But in terms of the formal meeting, I think it has to.
Does anybody have any other recommendations? Your recommendation to
Absolutely.
Mike, what would you recommend?
What's wrong?
That's what I was thinking.
Good job, Bill. Amazing. First time I ever agreed with you in public.
Last time,
You guys just need to have conversation in order. What I do gather from Robert's rules is the meeting should immediately stop conducting substantive business if the number of board members drops below the required quorum of the meeting.
Where does the statute mean?
Substantive, that means important, yeah, important stuff.
So then we wouldn't vote on anything. I think we could probably continue with any committee updates. And maybe do some responses, but we will not,
Right, that's.
Does that feel comfortable to you, Mike? Do you wanna run the meeting?
Yeah, no,
Unless Mike requires.
we don't. Yeah.
We'll be in Robert's rules in regards to us.
Right now, range.
It's stop conducting stand.
Yeah, next.
Would you like to be the facilitator?
Financial crisis.
Where you can finish the meeting.
What are the lessons from the
No, I'm glad you.
money? I'm just saying, I'll tell you.
Alright, guys. Recess is over.
Okay, I.
Hold on one second, I just want to be clear. Okay. The current board members of 4 that do not meet a quorum for our bylaws, and I'm gonna document this. Can I have someone else please help me with actual minutes today, like Bill can and Pat, you?
Yeah, sure. But actually, are we doing this portion?
Yes, because we're not, so, well, let's decide. Per robertsrules.com, using that because per bylaws, we as a Locust Lake Association must follow our bylaws or policies. Unless if it's not explicitly delineated, we default to Robert's rules. That's, in the. Per, Robert's rules, if you have mid-meeting, even if it's less, board members than required in your quorum, you cannot conduct substantive business. And you do information only, that's it. Any decisions moving forward, from that perspective. We should continue the meeting, finishing up things if we want to do them. We can continue members and directors' comments, I want to continue them, but not making decisions. Are we comfortable with that decision on this? That's fine. I'd like a yes from everybody.
Yes.
I'm okay, but not, I want to continue with motions.
We cannot do that for Robert's rules, unfortunately. Your colleagues are not.
Okay, motions be documented today for the
Can
next.
we motion, make a motion,
I
document
think
it in the
we
minutes?
make requests. We
I'd like to make
requests.
requests, and any motions that are made, for example, I make a motion to request for the audit be in the minutes.
So I think what we'll do is I can't call a motion because a motion would be to follow the steps, but we will document, I will document notes.
I would make a motion to be, request for a motion at the next meeting.
Yeah, I think we're just making requests, guys.
But I think, well, the thing is, I believe Bill wants to go on record with so do I regarding some of the stuff that I asked, and the thing, an action, that we can make requests, and then we can address those requests at the next meeting. Status.
Alright, we'll put this into old review business and something brand new as our request to you.
Well, as long as they show up in the minutes at the next meeting, so we have our June meeting,
We're gonna put it in old business or new business, depending on if it's an old topic.
it will be in, it will be in old business, that's fine. My next question, Pat, is, you mentioned that we had,
To go back, we are currently finishing the financial report, treasurer's report. We're still in that section of treasurer's report discussion.
my question is, you mentioned that we had 16 accounts and 5 different depositories. Where is this $4 million placed now? Can you explain it to me?
$1 million is placed across all of those accounts, and off the top of my head, I don't know how much is in each account, I don't have my laptop with me to pull that up, but I'm
We still have 16 accounts.
We,
So where did the Edward Jones money go?
Edward Jones money went into ESSER, and
Okay,
it will be moved, the capital funds will be moved to Morgan Stanley so it can be invested.
okay, and so we're putting money into Morgan Stanley, we have LIGO, ESSA, and PNC.
Right.
Okay, and I'd like to, and I'm sure the rest of the members of the board would like to see a breakdown of how the funds are distributed in each account. You know, give us a breakdown, like, we used to get bank statements.
Yes, I know that bank statement, we can get that for you.
Great. Okay, and also HOA financial reporting requirements, just so you know, mandates the association maintain transparent records, typically produce monthly financial reports, and balance sheets, and income statements, budget comparisons. So, my next question is, in the January, February capital account, there's accumulated depreciation in the savings account, can you explain that?
Accumulated.
That is correct.
It was on, yeah, that was.
And I asked a couple of times about that, and I never received an answer, so I have to say, we have a savings account, but we have $200,000
It was on
depreciation.
the cap, it was on the capital.
It's on the capital account, so
You know.
how is that possible? Why does
Doesn't
it
make sense to me, and I didn't look into it, I will look into it, I can answer.
Yeah, it was a new indication I never seen before.
Depreciation is not cash, so I.
Well, I understand that, and that's why it was a red flag, and it's like, what is this person producing these reports, is, wait a minute,
And which account was that?
Capital.
It was a capital.
Okay.
and it was in January and February. It makes no sense, so how liable is this firm? You know, if they mention the
Before we
same,
make judgments, let's look into it, because it could be a lot of mislabels of the way, there's a lot of like weird mislabels on dealer accounts. I think that was what is taking so long, is clarifying what really.
there's 3 separate QuickBook accounts. A does not talk to B, does not talk to C. So there's no way that a general ledger account would have been, a mistake would have been made.
When I use the term general ledger, I was being very broad in
Right,
abstract. I was not
Okay.
being literal.
okay, so we have an agreement that we're gonna do all the reports and everything. Are we good, Sherry?
But I agree to get all of which reports.
Yes, so how about we do in saying, please make your specific request. Sometimes we're all saying the same word and we have different imaginations of what that word means in our brain, so I think can you label out exactly
I
what.
will send you an email, I will send the board a complete email of the reports that the previous boards used to get.
That would be awesome,
And
and if you
even
have
if-
samples of it, that would be even
And
better.
if 8 out of 9 people don't read it and one does, that's fine.
Well, we are, Pat is agreeing to read that email and it's
I am going to read it. And you know what would be very helpful to me,
Absolutely.
since you've got the expertise, is to say, PA law XYZ says this, we need to get this. That would be, to have a grid, so that we can see where this is all emanating from, because you said it's under, by law, we're required to.
No, it's not in the bylaws, it's not in the,
Not the bylaws, you said Pennsylvania law.
that is correct, and
So that would be
Pennsylvania,
helpful to understand which
management-
laws we're talking about.
management of planned communities, it's chapter 53.
Well, if you could do it on a grid, we don't have to go
Right.
through it now, and say, this report, Pennsylvania
All
bylaw.
right, but my question is, why do I have to justify why I need reports?
Because it's a learning opportunity for all of us.
How we operate, I don't know.
Pause, guys, pause. Everybody. So,
You're asking,
guys, stop talking for a second, please. And I'm not trying to be rude or sassy, I'm trying to have us be somewhat productive. Because right now, we think differently. So where we land, we've had an immense amount of discussions. Bill, as board of director with past experience of what his work in financial reports, you are going to send an email to the entire board of directors, addressed specifically to Patricia as the treasurer, requesting whichever reports or bank statements or whatever it is you would like to see. You're gonna add some examples if you happen to have them from past experiences, so there's clarity on what the word actually means and what the title actually means. And I'm hearing that Pat would like, if you can, in your expertise, to add a clarity of anything that you know of in your expertise, what by PA law should be standard monthly reports that go to the community, Is that something you can do for her?
There is no specific thing in Pennsylvania law
Okay,
that says that.
okay.
It says a board member is entitled to do this by fiduciary responsibility, and he's gotta be reasonable. He or she has to be reasonable.
So then, so
Part
that
of that
answers the
is
question, so
financial
then,
information.
never mind, that answers the question.
Reasonable is.
This way, when you see a delinquency thing, and Pat wants to do this, I say, Pat, this is great,
I got it,
okay?
but
But I
okay,
need that information.
I got you, I think there have been statements made that maybe there's more explicit, there's not.
No, it's not, it's just, it's a,
Okay.
Mike, do you have anything you would like requested?
Yeah, I guess we talked about, I guess, CFOs, whatever, company. If there was a question in regards to, my question is, we talked about what maybe now we'll be going to June very soon.
Well,
When will, well, who's doing the audit?
Owens, we signed the engagement letter, about by the board a few weeks before that, and Owens is doing the audit, and right now the folks in the office are preparing for that audit, so that's what's happening.
Okay, so Owens is gonna do the audit. When is the date it was built? Yeah, I've been, yeah. Normally, the year before, when do we get the audit report from Owens?
we should have it by the annual meeting is the goal that we always try to. So when Owens comes in, they work with Kathleen, and then they do it the first couple of months to make sure everything's up and up, because even though you have an entry in December, it might have been paid till January, February. So they wanna do that follow-up close year end.
we did in last month when we discussed this and we made a decision to move forward with Owens and engage with them. It was discussed that clearly we are starting the process later than normal and we're having delays already in closing out the monthly books. So it will most likely not be ready by the annual meeting. We had to acknowledge that as a board of directors. Sure, should not be any longer.
Is what, July?
July, yeah,
Okay.
so I think we are maybe in an aggressive state, we were hoping for August, I think we should be prepared mentally. But
That's
it didn't slip, it was an intentional pause with an intent. First and foremost, there was a look at other, companies, besides Owens, because there was an intent to actually shift and move into a different, different direction. Get a different set of eyes, because Owens has been an auditor. And there was the work that was happening with the, financial moving from cash to and there was also the full-time bookkeeper, there's staffing pieces, there was a huge component, and we don't have a manager right now that will help manage and navigate a lot of these things. That clearly, it was discussed last month that we cannot or should not wait any longer. It would be prudent to go back to Owens, who knows us best, who knows us the most familiar with us. And going to amendment this particular year, we did that reengagement with an intention that we would hope that the next board of directors will then take the step of going into doing something different from Owens, in 2027.
Okay. The thing is, that what, the 25 audit has to be done, but, our financial policy is doing it stuff. The thing was in regards to when the change of management of bookkeeper happened in December, Kathleen was left with here, and it said as far as that you will do a full audit.
We do a full audit, the reason, Mike, that was changed was because let's say the manager leaves in, you do the audit and the manager just leaves in November, you're already, so that's why we put that flexibility in there,
Well,
but
the reason I'm saying that, okay, yes, you need some flexibility. Somebody quits the next one.
right, so you wanted that flexibility.
But the reason it was, the wording was changed, let everybody know, the reason the wording was changed, we had 5 different changes of matter. One audit was done that year, not one. I brought it when I was on the board, 2 Owens, and
Which year
1.
we
What's
discussed
the
that?
story here?
What years?
Was that during COVID?
You were on the board.
Yeah.
No, I take back, you were not on the
I
board.
was on the board.
You were not on the board. The thing was, Owens said, fine, you were in violation of your policy. And the only way you wouldn't be in violation of your policy, because it said you will do an audit when the change in management or change in bookkeeper happens. The problem was, you will not be, as far as outside the realm, if you change the word from you will do an audit to you may do an audit.
And the intention behind that,
And the thing was, then they were protected that because they didn't do an audit. That wasn't the solution to the problem.
so, look, can I just restate it to make sure I'm understanding it accurately? In this year, let's say it was 2020, because it was sometime during COVID, a board decision was made by no one here at this table to change the financial policy from shall do an audit when you have a manager or bookkeeper transition, or it wasn't specific about when your employee changes, it was just a general statement, from you shall, meaning you have to then you may, which allowed some option of choice. It's not feasible, or it's not, you can possibly undertake it, or you have to redo an audit 5 times, which would be extraordinarily expensive with numbers. To you may, which allowed that flexibility and that capability. Are you arguing that that was an inappropriate decision, or?
I made a point, I voted no against, because I think by the accountant for doing it wrong. The paperwork I had, that was, I guess, in 2020.
Yeah, I was on the board.
Because the thing is, in here is bylaws can change, and the answer is yes. But it also states, okay, amending bylaws also require a majority vote among residents. And that one is 2/3 to 3/4 of majority in favor of the changes. There's been a lot of bylaw changes, okay, better ones, okay, but the residents have no input whatsoever. As a resident, you know, the changes that come down, and unless we actually ask for the input for the residents, and it hasn't happened as long as I've been here, okay, that's a major problem.
Was that change in 2020 a bylaw change or financial policy change?
That was fine, that's
It was a
fine.
financial policy change, so it was not a bylaw change.
I changed the bylaws since 2019.
Okay. So can I just go back to like the point of, like, what do you want me to capture as your point of bringing that up?
Well, the point of bringing it up as far as, you know,
Are you requesting something?
well, 2 answers, okay, when is the audit going to be complete, from what, whatever.
We're hoping August or September.
And the thing is, are we doing an audit now because we had a change in management?
No, it's the same.
Annual
It's the
audit.
same one, it's gonna be the same order.
It's the annual, full, complete audit.
There'd be a duplication basically.
I mean, it will address, to your point though, it will address that we had a change in manager when this occurred.
That's 5 months away. It's a shame, I mean,
Well, we don't have the word-
we're doing an audit here that somebody, I'm not saying there was wrongdoing, but the thing is now we have 5 months down the road, 2 or 3 other people.
I'm agreeing it should have been done January 1.
That's
But
right.
we did not have enough information to engage in that time, and there were board of directors, who are not here present today, who wanted to really pursue other,
We have policies, procedures, we have, that's all I'm saying.
okay, I agree, okay, so
We're not.
you wanted clarification that the intent is we are getting an audit to meet our annual and our manager transition requirements, correct? Which we have confirmed will be Owens, with a hope that maybe it'll be done by August or September. Does anybody have any remaining questions on that? Within the board, anything else to add, Pat? Right, I do wanna give, and I'm gonna disclose, I have to leave here by 11:30. My daughter's prom is this evening in New Jersey. I'm not. I drove all the way up here last night to be here, to be present, to be part of the work and to help things. So while I worked really hard to give you guys some opportunity to speak, I need to be transparent with my limitations today to go see my daughter in her beautiful dress that she's texting me about that she's in. So if we can keep them really short, like 1 or 2 minutes, but I know that you guys wanted to talk about these, but I am gonna ask to do some timing. I'm not trying to give your name and your address, please. If you just stand in front of that, it should capture you. It's working.
A lot of these people have problems tonight too, a lot of these people drove up this morning, and we're all in the same boat.
Perfect.
I drove up through 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And the mic is now working for those online.
I'm gonna talk quick here because I know they're gonna pull this out for me in 3
And this is
minutes.
specific to financial.
This is a very specific to the treasury report. I'm Dave Juga, I head up, this, once informal but no longer vacant lot committee here. And I'm gonna be very direct. I started asking questions about this back in October. At first, I thought this was a narrow vacant lot dues issue. I wanted to understand the authority to map the approval trail on one LLV was changing a longstanding due structure, not removing a discount that affected only a subset of owners. But after months of questions, owner conversations, documents, and unanswered requests, not just the board making requests. In fact, you have a lot, you could probably read today during your comments. There's a lot of people on the line right now, a lot of people in this room that wrote into the board since January, not just in the past 72 hours. Thank you, everybody that's watching, and thank you everybody in this room that has been behind the scenes working with me. They told members the village was in strong financial health. In fact, we got a great letter about that in the mail. Essentially debt-free with significant reserves and capital funds. But then a small group of owners also had a second piece of paper in there, letting them know that they needed to pay significantly more this year, in some cases roughly 30% or more. That extra money would help generate approximately $133,000. So the question is simple. LLD is financially strong. Why is the burden shifted onto a subset of owners? And if the board knows the answer, why has it been so difficult to produce the authority, the math, the finance committee review, the approval trail, and the reserve rationale? This is not a hostile question at all. It's a basic governance question. The payment plan issues make this worse. Owners were told the plan was optional, no fee, and meant to preserve good standing multiple times by Wade and other members on this board, in meetings like this and in other places. But later, owners saw language involved a release statement, an indemnification clause, a confidentiality clause, penalties, badges, wristbands, and good standing consequences if you didn't sign that payment plan. So this is something every board member should want reviewed before enforcement continues. This is not only the treasurer. Every director is now on notice. 2 of you guys today are asking the right questions. Every director is now on notice when owners raise documented concerns about finances, assessments, payment plans, records, good standing, and enforcement. Inaction is no longer neutral. The full board owns what happens next. The owners in this room, if you care about how LLV makes financial decisions, you should speak up today. Today it's vacant lot owners having real consequences because of the chaos that's happening and you're seeing unfolding in front of you every day for months. Or it could be everyone else, dues, reserves, legal costs, insurance, amenities, and property values. Property values, I'll argue right now, we're already seeing it. Go on there and see what it's when you look at vacant lots, what's happening there, which are brick and mortar. I'm asking the board to do the responsible thing. Pause the harm, preserve the records, read the owner letters in the record, and support a motion to rescind or at a minimum, pause enforcement of the 2026 vacant lot additional dues change until LOD can produce the documents. Show us the money, show us the math, show us the approvals, show us the records. I'm going to repeat that. I am asking the board to do the responsible thing. Pause the harm, preserve the records, and read the owner letters. If the decision was a correct one, the records will support that. If the records are not ready, not reliable, or not clear, then continuing to enforce this against owners, roughly about 14% of them, is the wrong move.
Can I just get your name, I'm sorry.
You guys want to-
Can we put the statement in the record?
Hold on 1 second, please. So this exact same topic was brought up by another member, Denise Adams, who had reached out to the board, had been requesting this is gonna come up. I saw that email yesterday, I believe it was, in the past 24 hours. Asked Dave if we could add it as an old business commentary so that we can make statements. So I already planned to discuss that, we can't make decisions here today, we don't have quorum, but we will make a statement on it in old business, that was part of the intent of the plan, so thank you. But I believe that you articulated most of what you also wanted to say. Do you want to respond first, Mike?
Yeah.
But remember, just when you give time,
We can't take action, but what I would like to do.
Well, I think
well, can we
this,
talk about it in old business, so that it's an action item in old business,
Right,
that's what I'm trying to
well,
say.
what I like to do is a recommendation, that we put that on the agenda next meeting
Yes.
to rescind as far as that, and the reason being, okay? There's other information I don't think that's taken into consideration. I haven't had a chance to check on it, well, I shouldn't say it, I've asked for backup, but I haven't gotten it. I understand that like 1,600 properties here, but we're only billing roughly 1,400 as far as.
Okay, but let's just, Mike, I wanna put that in the old business so that we can make it a 1,000-minute piece, okay? Otherwise, we're into comments and we can't.
I think
Yes, sure, Joanne?
Sherry.
I got one.
You received more than one
Oh, yes, yes, we received multiple things. And I didn't mean to negate any of those, I was just saying that based on one particular one last night, I again tried to use that as another reason to document it today and old business, even though we have a lot. Right. Thank you, good point, thank you. Go ahead, Joanne.
Hi.
What's your
Hi,
address, Joanne,
I'm
sorry?
Joanne Andrews, I'm the former treasurer, and I
Your
want to talk,
address, I'm sorry, your address.
203 Whitehorn. 203 Whitehorn Drive. Yes, I used to be former treasurer, still concerned as a resident about the financials, and I just want to point out that a lot of the narrative today just really doesn't add up. We are still able to run reports, systemically, we haven't changed anything, they're using C3 QuickBooks Online versus desktop really doesn't make a difference. On February 20th, the Friday before I resigned that weekend, the staff ran a financial report because we had a meeting with the investment broker. And so you had a current accounting of what was the income and expenses for the village as of February 20th. We had $1.3 million in receipts, we had 700, of my glasses, just under $800,000 received in January, and another, as of February 20th, we had another about 500,000 come in. So the reports are able to be produced. Let me finish. The topics that Pat is bringing up in the narrative that indicates we can't do this because of an accrual conversion isn't true. We have a significant problem with the board members who are currently running the financial processes and a staff who's confused and has been alienated. So there's so many issues that Bill was pointing out, Mike was pointing out. As members, you should be concerned today. It's April. You have no idea what your operating account has. Last year at this time, you had about 80% of your money come in. We're talking over $2 million, $2.9 million budget. We're showing $500,000 of income with no cash flows, no balance sheets, and no ability to track expenses. Imagine running your household like that. Could you be able to pay your bills and make sound business decisions in May with financial records that you had from February? It's basically impossible to make good, sound business decisions, and we're about to have a financial crisis. So to be clear, there's absolutely no reason why these reports can't be run and updates. None of this narrative makes sense. The expenses that Pat is pointing out also are incorrect. We have a trash contract, Pat, that runs for 60 months that was signed, that limits of expenses that can be charged. We're only gonna run, and it's 5% cap over 3 years. My reports indicate we've spent $8,000 in January, not 20, we're not at 40,000. So I'm confused where these reports are being pulled from. If we have spent a significant amount of money to bring a contractor in, I'm not the CFO my way, running reports from C3 well, and we're indicating we can't get you the detail you need behind the delinquent accounts, then we can't pull a summary, okay?
If there's any specific other asks that you might have, because I think that what I'd like you to do is if there are specific reports.
Oh, I did,
that you like on C3, then just please
Right.
do the same.
Well, I've
Just
written-
those out and send an email.
I have written like about 5 emails to the board asking questions.
If you have
Every
already options.
Shall I let me just finish, I'm gonna be brief.
Thank you.
The community and demanding accountability for the financial records and really look into what's being said by your board today and expose what's really happening and demand accountability. None of this makes sense, and we're in a financial crisis.
Joanne, if you could, in those particular reports that you believe would be helpful,
You
if
can-
you want to send an email with those exact names, just like Bill is doing, that would be really great.
You have them, at least 5 times. Thank you. I've been waiting 60 days.
Anything else? Oh,
Just members' comments?
Yeah.
no, this is not members, it's not full members' comments, this is your financial report, and a few people wanted to make some comments about financial, the treasurer's financial report.
It's all financial.
Do you have any comments about finance?
You're doing the financials?
Finance,
I
yes.
do have a question on financials.
Yeah, come on up then, I'm letting everybody have their moment,
That's why I came, actually.
thank you.
Bring up my question, I have it on my phone.
Great, I am
Bob,
here to see your
Go
address.
over by the,
Bob Christensen, your address is, your address,
140 copies. I don't know why you have a meeting with 4 people.
we're doing a discussion.
The board's not supposed to meet.
One left,
Hold a meeting,
one left.
I sent this request to Town Square So I was requested to do it that way, not to give it to a board member, to get an answer. Board meeting. I've sent it twice. Okay. Here's my question. Can we get an update on roadway maintenance? Pothole repair, gravel roads needing material, drainage, etc. I see no monies allocated in 2026 budget. Where the money's coming from? Normally, maintenance has started on these type of repairs, and maintenance by this time of year. Maintain them by this time of year. Have any tree companies been contacted for their tree removal out of many areas or stump removal out of many areas? Remember last year, you took down approximately 12 trees up in many areas. There was monies allocated for stump removal. Okay, you can get hurt. Kids running around, fall on the stumps, everything else. Please report to the community on these matters. I submitted this request 2 weeks ago and have not heard anything as of yet. Now this is,
But we are aware that.
many items that were listed in the budget are no longer there. Why? Did the board realize this when they voted on the budget? If so, explain in detail how these expenditures are covered. So my question is, Wade is in here.
I'll move.
Mike, nor
What is
Frank,
right here?
and Dave left. He
So-
was here, he didn't leave.
All these expenditures disappear. Normal, every year we have these expenditures.
Could you give
Very
us a couple of
incorporated.
examples? I'm
No,
sorry.
no, don't interrupt
I'm
me.
sorry.
I don't want to interrupt you, don't do this thing. So then they get taken out. Where does the money come from? You can't take it from capital, you can't take it from reserves, so nothing, maintenance, roadway maintenance isn't getting done, drainage isn't getting done, none of this is getting done. Why was this budget passed? When
So what I,
many items were left out.
I'll
I'll say
speak to the, all of the specifics, but what I will say is I'm looking at the budget, financials for February, and I do have certain line items, budgeted dollars for tree maintenance. I have to spend some time to get into the potholes on a daily basis.
$60,000 was allocated for road maintenance, as a 65-year requirement.
So I do think there is money allocated. I can't speak to the delta between 2025 and 2026. Because I think this is going to be another specific request. We'll ask, treasurer to look into. If it's not something like that request made its way to her, we can ask if that is done. It's a request that we'll put in today, to get to those deltas. And it sounds like an additional question, you're not seeing the work get done, while I do see money allocated.
Where's everything documented?
Where it's being done, the expenditures, that would be in the financials, which we only have January and February, but you are right.
What you're not understanding, where is the money for the expenditures, the money we need, we have every year appropriated for, okay? If there were changes made or something, to put these somewhere else, is it documented?
Yeah, I mean, I do see tree maintenance explicitly called out, it's line item 400-8558. So there is some there, I have to look into the road maintenance piece a little bit more in detail.
It's in the budget, Sherry.
I do believe there is some there, in that sense, but it sounds like we need to respond to you with those details.
I've actually asked this question
Yeah.
to others,
Okay,
okay?
I can't speak to why you didn't get it.
My answer I got was, we have no idea. I asked, how's the work gonna get done? I don't know.
Well, I'm not sure because
I was told
yeah.
the board is trying to figure it out.
Okay, well, we'll take that concern, that request, and we'll discuss that one, thank you.
Bob, I agree with you, okay? Pat, the board has been trying to put more detail into it, okay? The money is there,
Yes.
okay?
Where, Mike?
Well, it's there. I'm not gonna go into the whole thing as far as each individual line item. There are line items to do some of the work, okay? The problem I see, okay, which I've asked, like you're
I
saying,
got a copy of the budget at home,
okay, well,
the complete budget.
I'm not
It's
sure,
there.
see, I'm not sure which one you have, because I have a number of different ones. Anyway, besides that point, okay, I agree with what you say. What we need here, okay, as far as management, we need to have people who are responsible for, be it maintenance, administration, put a list together saying, right, what they're doing or what they're planning to do. Be it stump removal, tree removal, you name it, as far as swales and stuff. I've asked for a number of times in regard to why we're putting swales and stuff, but you know, I haven't got, I agree totally with what you're saying. We need more detail, okay, but it's gotta come from the people here who are, we have in charge doing the work and saying, fine, this is what it is, because there is money in the budget for that.
But it's not a
But I would
complete-
like you to send me an email showing me where that money is.
But
Share it with
I'm
me.
just looking at it.
I'm entitled to that, I'd like that share.
well, you're absolutely right, you're entitled to it.
Yeah,
I have a hard time getting it, that's the problem. Like, if you need
So
it,
right now, it is there, Mike, we received an email,
I know
it's clearly here, 60,000, Joanne is right, there's $60,000 in road maintenance
We spent
right here.
72 through
And
February.
I could tell you the exact amount of trees, so it's there, I see it, it's
But
right
to
there in
Bob's
front of us.
point, there's no work's been done.
Yeah, we will get that to you, we'll clarify you, perhaps maybe things are missing, they're not, it's very clear,
It's
it's
been
road maintenance.
posted to Times Square as
Yeah.
well.
It's
So-
out there, so we just need to get some clarity that it exists and the intentionality of the strategy, how to use it. Go from there.
But does the maintenance, we usually have a road plan that will come out to tell us what roads we're gonna be, like, addressed during the spring. We don't have anything like that, I haven't seen,
Yeah, I mean, we also don't have a manager, right?
Okay, well, that's no
We
excuse,
do.
you guys are the leadership there, you're responsible to lead the village,
Just-
there's
Just
accountability.
to add, what bothers me the most is, for a month, I've asked this question twice. I submitted it to Town Square. Once, it was, being looked into, whatever they call it, okay? And the second time, it's still open from 2 weeks ago. So it hasn't been addressed at all. I couldn't even get an answer of, we'll look into it. I think that's really screwed up.
No, I.
Shirley, I stood up there and I made sure the management, everyone, those questions were answered to people. If they couldn't be done exactly then, get the information and get it to them.
I agree with you, and I
Things need to
appreciate you
change.
coming up here, as Mike has said, to speak your voice of your concern. We're
And I'm
writing down.
not taking this out on you.
I know,
Just
I know.
that- I'm
We're writing it
aggravated.
down for it to be noted and brought back.
Maybe three. Really, I just want to give you some, I'm sorry, Manny Tarani, 119 Cardinal Lane, in Ginger Street Lane. First, I want to say thank you for 4 of you here, it was 5 of you. You know, the board is 9 people. Frankly, I've been to several board meetings here. I think one time I saw 9 of you present.
We can't hear back here.
I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. All right, I said, first of all, thanks for 4 of you being here. Thanks for 4 of you being here, it was 5, now it's 4. There's 9 on the board, and I've been to probably the last 5, 6 board meetings. I think I only saw once or twice 9 board members here. The problem is here, unfortunately, they don't attend, they call in, nobody can hear them. Workshops, I know for a fact, I hate to say that, my wife is on the board, I know for a fact, some of them don't even show up at the workshop. Then we have to sit here and listen to argument between 4 or 5 members. It's not fair to us. If you cannot attend the meeting, if you cannot attend and make decision and tell us what's going on, please don't run for the board. I mean, that is really the ultimate thing I'm gonna ask you. The only other question that I happen to be unfortunately at one.
Are you doing finance right now?
We're gonna finance.
It's a quick question.
Okay.
On finance.
Go ahead.
That was a comment. Okay, the question, unfortunately, I'm a president of another board, HOA that we own. I see the, almost 240,000, after 120 days. The
Okay, you're
question,
not, what? I couldn't hear.
about $240,000 delinquency. The other boards that I have been a member, we have a policy how to get that money. I would love to know, as a
That's like-
rules and regulation chairman as well. Policy is to go after delinquent ones after 120 days, and who enforces. Other boards, we give it to our attorney. After he's not happy with what he hears, he puts a lien on the unit. When the unit is sold, we get our money. I don't think that's happening here. I hate to say it.
I would say it's a convoluted process. The board of directors has had a lot of similar questions, and we are actively rewriting standard operating procedure for delinquency management. So next month, we will be, I think, voting on that update.
Would that be something that you want me to put in R&R, or is it just something for board and your policy?
More financial.
It's more of a financial, but it may get.
Will you get that as a
And we will probably explain it in detail, the new recipe.
All right, thank you.
Well, Sherry, there's an active collection policy, and we've done a really great job. I don't think the board should be focusing on delinquencies that are at 200-some thousand. When Bill was treasurer and the finance committee, I guess 3-4 years back, worked on the policy to make collections current. We had over about $600,000 to $800,000 in delinquencies. We've done a fantastic job with the current policies that we have to collect dues immediately. The what you see left are some hardcore, because I reviewed them, that need decisions and financial changes to the policy, but we haven't affected policy. What this board needs to focus on is what the problem is with you guys being able to deliver a financial report and to be able to make decisions. Now, it's clear that the treasurer is not able to accurately explain why we're in this situation. Nothing has changed. It has nothing to do with staff. Staff will gladly run the report, but some have been alienated. You spend a lot of money on CFO My Way, and we can't have that produced. I mean, I could produce reports for you in the office.
Okay, you already had your comments, Jen.
But not, Sherry, I can ask.
Yeah, so, anybody else with financial comment, because we're gonna not do committee reports today. There's no point to do those, I think, at this point in time. Meeting, all we're doing is information space, so I would have to send to old business, which is where we did not have any old business on the original agenda. But we did want to hear, so the board of directors wanted to make specific requests for things to be brought to the next meeting, correct?
Yeah, okay, so we're on new business?
Or an old business.
Okay, that's all on new business.
Alright,
The
so,
request next month.
yeah, so old business, I had one item that I wanted to bring, which is specifically due to the concerns by members regarding the vacant lot dues discount removal. Was inappropriate, overly burdensome, asking for more background and information on what that was and why. Your explicit request again today to have the board consider implementation of that aspect, if I'm gathering that correctly, reconsider and then come back with a different space.
Was it paused or was?
Wait.
So we can't make any decisions today.
No,
There's a request.
my question was it paused?
I would,
Or to rescind?
I
What,
would, yeah.
if you want to see what you've heard from various members.
Okay, what I'd like to do is, I've been reviewing community feedback on the dues rate change, and agree that the decision was not made properly and violates the policy and regulations. Rates can't be changed without the state law and governing documents. Without following state law and governing documents. A lot more review and analysis needs to be done, and a legal opinion should be required. So I'm making a motion,
You can't make a motion.
I know that. That's for next month, a motion,
A request.
request for motion next month to reverse the dues discount motion made on December 2025, cease collection and refund all money collected. The approximately $133,000 allocated to the reserve account are removed from the budget, and 14% of the members affected made whole. Can I get a mic? Anybody want to second it? No?
Well, we're gonna discuss that the next meeting.
Okay, I just want to make sure that it's.
Well,
I do
that's why I asked in regards to, as far as discussing rescinded or put on hold.
I would like to make a couple of comments in response to
My understanding as far as the research, limited research the time that I had, okay, as far as section 5208, title 68, real personal property in regards to dictating the vote and how.
It's an allocation of
How the allocation is, I'm reading it, okay, and the information I'm getting, that this needed to go to the residents to vote on. So that's my opinion, so the thing is, we'll discuss it.
I do wanna make a couple of comments in response to yours. Remember, you weren't on the board at the time, I was actually not in favor of this original piece, I was in favor of more of a slow. Large. There was legal, review that this was within the right of the board of directors at the time. So I just want to be transparent and clear to the board of directors as they reviewed this, as they felt they had done adequate and exhaustive, an assessment and investigation into it. And there was legal, counsel input, this was in their space.
Do we have documentation for the legal counsel?
I haven't had on me, but
But we have documentation from Alaska or wherever the attorney was.
Yeah, we do.
Can we get that, please, send that to the board members?
the request to share that. I just wanted that to be stated publicly, that it was not as if it was not done, that the board who made the decision at the time did have access to that information. They're right.
Let's make it right though.
Oh,
I'm just being transparent with facts. Just being transparent with facts. I just didn't want it to be perceived that they didn't get legal input and that legal input had said they should not. It said that it was within their space to do.
Yes, that is correct, under, management of, HOA.
Any other, that was the one piece that I wanted to bring, any other old business that we wanted to bring up as a request, that was beyond the financial reports?
What can we continue this? The dues.
Well, there's a lot of people here for members' comments, and I hope in 30 minutes, can we? Or once we have information to act on, just so that people can be heard. I mean, I don't want to make you feel like you're not getting the opportunity to talk, but
Well, I mean, we have 20 minutes, I guess, they have member comments, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the members are, want to know the
I guess, does
rationale.
anyone feel like we have not exhausted that concern? Maybe we should go about it that way. We can ask for comments now about that issue from the members now.
Which concern?
Maybe instead of
The
reading
dues
everybody's letters that came in, like, tell us, how many members wrote in? Give us some information.
What, my question, is, why did we do it? Why did we have to put it?
Can I speak to that?
Absolutely, please.
The reason that we did it was to restore equity. You had situations in here where a lot owner was paying double what another lot owner was paying across the street for dues. The equity was absent. There was now that a single lot owner, that all that individual owns was one lot, would be paying double what a homeowner across the street who happened to have a contiguous lot was. Made no sense from an equitable point of view. And essentially, by granting discounts to certain classes of owners, you were actually requesting that the other owners subsidize those discounts. Because the budget is developed by coming together, adding together all the costs that come, we need to run this village, and then we divide it. And if some person gets a discount, somebody else has to pick up the difference. Equitable, that was the driving situation, and so we set about researching it. Months of research went into it, months of reviews of prior minutes were done to establish why this happened, and there was nothing documented in the minutes. So,
But if I could clarify for that,
Sure.
so I will say what was the bigger problem that I did agree with needed to eventually be addressed was there were, I think, 67, 72, some really large number in above 60, various dues potential. If someone owns 7 lots, they got a deeper discount than someone who owned 5 lots, which got a less discount if you had only 4 lots, or if you had only 1 lot. That seemed to evolve over a total of 50 years, stacking to the 1970s, I think some of them were,
yes.
in that sense. That is, I think, where the equity issue that you're speaking to comes in, because why does someone who owns 15 lots only pay, and I'm making the numbers up, $100, but someone who owns 3 lots pays $500? Now, yes, I heard the comment of green space, I think the intention behind that most likely in previous boards was, if someone was willing to buy a whole lot of space and not build one, that would be good for the village, and we should give them a discount for doing so, because they're not gonna use 15 versions of bands and recreational space. I believe that to be the intent of that. One item that I think is very, very particular, and I think this has come, are the non-workable lots that stand alone. That there was, and that the change, the removal of the discounts to them was significant in a lot that cannot be built on, really cannot be used, and felt unfair of a sudden increase. And I do think that is one that I think we should relook at. Perhaps that we, in the midst of trying to deal with all the other various discount variations, should we relook at that dollar amount, and was that the most appropriate amount for those types of lots as an annual use? So I would call that out specifically as a request, to even look at that particular one of the
Why
60
didn't
plus.
this go to the finance committee?
We've presented this to the finance committee. It was presented to the finance committee.
When are we gonna have a,
When
when are we going to have a finance?
No, it was presented when there was a finance committee.
Which is
Really?
last year.
But before we rolled this out.
May I make a comment? It will be at home. I've lived here for 40 years, I don't,
You speak
I mean, I don't.
These people online.
Okay, my name is Tricia Holly, and I was at 25. My lot for 20 years, I bought it for green space. It was never considered a discount, it was just the deemed matrix structure that to my knowledge has been here for longer than 40 years. Now, if there's no documentation and all the time we've had this, then don't punish those of us who have bought green space. If you have to do it and you don't have any documentation stating you can't, then start now.
Right.
Do the grandfather
Do the
issue.
grandfathering
To
and moving
bring all the
forward.
people that have it for now. That's my suggestion, and I would appreciate it if the board members would take a look at that.
No, I have a lot, but you mentioned that in the motion, it says you eliminate the dues discount. Right?
Thank you, Pat.
Where in the financial policy or any policy does it state dues discount? The last time we had a dues discount was, correct me if I'm wrong, was back in 2012 or so, when people prepaid their dues. So if everybody did their research and they had read their financial states that it is a ratio, okay, or combination ratio, it doesn't state dues discount. So basically, you're illegally taking money from these people because there's nothing that says where's the discount? There is no. The interpretation, I go to court, right, I go to court. You go to court, you got the wrong word for the motion.
So we've got a lot of points out, I am not a lot for you. Anybody, other comments, civic finance, we need to move forward to members' comments?
Yes, why do we need $133,000 in the reserve account? It's almost going to be at $2 million. Well, these are the questions that I
I
think
don't
should
think
have
that
been addressed.
drove, I don't think that drove me. I think we're underfunded according to the reserve study, Bill, so it's always a good idea to put money away when you can.
Well, I have that reserve, thank you for mentioning it, because I do have that reserve study in front of me. Let me find it on my papers. And I will tell you, it was from the Falcon Group in 2024. And I believe 100% funding was $1,800,000. That was 100% funding. We are currently at $1,951,000. So I think we're a little bit ahead.
I have to look at the numbers, Bill, I haven't looked at them as recently as you.
So that's another question you have to understand. What's the goal of the funding reserve account?
More transparency would solve this problem, just show.
No transparency.
Here's one.
All our order of business, if you're not making decisions, we are only informing, is done. Next would be committee reports, if you're not.
Sharon, can I just ask you?
Can you make members' comments, Joanne, please? Thank you. We're not gonna do committee reports today because there's no business, substantive business today. Sorry.
Security liaison, I volunteered 2 months ago, Monday, later on.
Be the chair who normally
Well, I know.
advises them.
To make the note.
Okay, so I'll put that in new business.
Right.
Alright.
I agree with what he's saying. You asked for a lot of information you haven't gotten.
Right.
I would like to see more whole information.
You requested to be chair of.
Security, yes.
Alright, any other old business to discuss amongst the board members?
I do have the schedule from recommendation from Falcon Group. They recommended baseline funding. Well, that's the minimum balance funding is $1,083,000. Full funding is $1,830,000. So. It's on the website, it's on the research study.
If you want to point it out, so that can be part of the discussion.
Absolutely. Here.
Alright. Any other old business points to bring up? I didn't have anything else to say for myself. Any new business to bring up? Alright, I'm gonna move us to members' comments. Again, I need to leave soon so that I can be in Jersey. I can call in, but I'm trying to. If anybody has not already brought up an important topic, you want to bring up as members' comments, we heard.
Can you guys?
Yeah.
Some information on Dave Harrison's presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody get an answer? You guys love it, you guys walk out.
You want that?
He said he did not resign.
So we walked out.
You're kidding,
He did not resign. He told me he did not resign.
So is there ramifications for the chair?
Board members are allowed to miss up to 2 meetings per year.
He didn't miss a meeting. He disrupted the meeting. He wasted everybody's time.
I think that's fair.
New businesses for the board to report back to the community on what this is going to action or whatever is going to happen to that board.
Okay. Thank you, I got you. Any other members comments? If you can come up.
I think so.
Oh, sorry, did you?
$150 Sitco. Normally, when a member is not attending the meeting, they're attached on the phone.
Usually, yes.
What was the excuse this year? And I know you're not responsible, and I commend you for taking some of these
His comment
shots.
was he was leading the meeting, but
No,
then
no,
that's
no,
not.
not him. The ones that held
Well,
Two board members from Portugal, Tom Travia is moving his daughter,
Okay.
and Ray Rochelle is up in New Hampshire having whatever.
Something personal. They had personal reasons.
Right, I mean, that's a little,
I will be honest, many of us did,
is there accountability for that even?
well, per the bylaws, not bylaws, for the
I mean,
bylaws,
in
they are
their
allowed to
defense,
miss
I
2
couldn't
meetings
make
per
the
year.
last meeting. That was be there.
No, I, yes. And address again for me, please.
Hello, my name's Daniel Sparrow, 716 Chipmunk Lane. I'd like to know when I can get, or we, as a community, go down to the office and get a printed version of the HOA rules, the current and up-to-date one.
You can do that today.
Is it the current and up-to-date? I got one in March.
That's weird.
Can I come swear?
I want to give you first, I want something in print.
Yes, I think you can go up today,
So it should
Kelly.
be PDF, it should be on top screen, it should be a latest PDF of rules and regulations, financial policy, which is issue 20.
Since the printed copy that you're asking, we did try to move to everything being electronic to save on supplies, paper, and cost to your
done with a box of rocks, I'd like a printed version.
Okay.
I do too.
Go to the office, request it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, I just haven't been that asked.
Thank you.
This is the forum to bring it up, not on Facebook.
Anybody else?
I do live now. Okay, Bill Zimmer, I was like to bring up, some of the financial questions.
So we can hear you and get your understanding.
Well, Bill Zimmer, this is the first time publicly, I'm gonna say, really nice job. Well, Bill, we might have disagreed on financial reports that, we can tell the health of the community. I think the board needs to convince the residents right now that this, the process that we're using doesn't work. We have not converted to divided by 12, it's not an accrual, it's an allocation. We're not able to produce any financial reports to allow you guys to make decisions. It's your fiduciary responsibility, it's required by law. Residents have a right to see good financial health, and I'm up there how you are operating the village. We need transparency. Myself, I know Bill, Mike, myself, and records, and we're being blocked. So if we can't see what's behind the curtain, for how you make decisions, then we're supposed to just take your word for it. That doesn't, when we ever operate. Okay, and because we're not getting responses, I believe the Deuce group email has got a response. I haven't gotten any responses. Like other members, I've been on Town Square and repeatedly questioned for these decisions that where we're at and why we haven't hired an accountant, why we have CFO money right. We're in a severe financial crisis right now that shows, lack of transparency. I think I want to ask you if you please continue to pursue that. We're in May, we only have February financials. If you go back to last year.
I'm sure by the end of next week, Pat will have all of my requested reports for me and the board.
Well, I don't think that's ability to do so, though, so.
But I can follow up with you.
And Sherry, we need a commitment from the board that you're going to respond to the members' requests. I've been waiting so long for any type of transparency, but we are reporting these externally. The Attorney General has put on notice that there's no financial. And you haven't responded because the 30 days required. Why the secrecy?
Are you referencing like a specific request for a document or a
No,
task
Sherry.
notice like Bob did?
I have a specific document. I have at least 5 emails asking about financial reports, questions, asking for specifications that are both Town Square and email. They just won't be answered during board. In fact, I got a message, Stacy Hollander wrote a message to her and I together, and not to my message, with more of this narrative that just doesn't make sense. What the real issue is, we have a problem.
Bring all this up.
All right, thank you.
Eliza, this is a warning, I only work till 11:30 and I have personally leave, so it's coming up. You'll cut my last one.
11:30.
Yeah, this is your last member's time here.
I've been watching this on YouTube. I've been here since 2017. By far, this is the worst meeting I've ever attended or witnessed. There's a lot of complaints. There's not a single commitment on what's going on, what's going to happen. I'm personally involved in this dues increase or dues discount takeaway. And all these excuses about, it's not fair for this, not fair for that. It's been going on for 15 years, nobody complained, and all of a sudden it's implemented overnight, processed by CAP, and there's no forum, nothing backing it up, and all of a sudden now we can't undo it. There's no commitment, there's no answers, nobody's responding today. It's just a mess. Why is this dues? Unfortunately, I was too busy to attend any of these meetings, but why?
Can I respond to you? So I do want to be clear to the entire board. While Pat Beebe was part of a leader in this particular investigation, this plan, the majority of the board voted on this. The majority of the board voted the budget that went in. And when it came up in multiple months, it wasn't the board who said we should not do what Bill is requesting now. I had brought it earlier in the year saying that we need to pause, stop, review, think. There was a majority of the board who said we should leave 2026 as is and consider it being reversed to November 27. That was not Pat alone making that decision. That was more than 5 people within the board who made that decision. But I want to be clear to.
So what's it going, are we gonna reverse it? Are we gonna get credits? Is it gonna get applied to the
Revised
lot?
today because we don't have a quorum. In Robert's rules, we cannot do any substantial business today. I just stayed here and talked because we felt like it was important to give members the opportunity to discuss and bring their concerns, ask their questions, because everybody just came here with the intention of having a meeting. I agree with you, there's issues. I chose to continue the meeting without the ability to do any actions so that people have a forum to discuss and talk. It has been formally requested by multiple board members today, which we are documenting in the whole business, to consider pausing, reversing, and making members whole. There was also a component to consider grandfathering notes for in the matrix up to date, and there was a specific request. Four people at these tables have committed to taking back the board of directors once.
So next meeting, we'll have the entire board, hopefully, and then something
I
will
can't
get
control
addressed
other
with it.
humans, I can only control my space, and I can do my very best to try to influence how people interact with you, and I feel like I try to do this hard every day.
Okay, so I will be doing a mid-month follow-up with the board, and hopefully, next meeting, we're gonna get something done or decided.
And I think that needs to be a request meeting to the entire board. We're here, we're hearing you, we're hearing everything, and we're doing our best.
Okay,
Is it fair, it's not the board members were from the dues discount because after the budget was passed, and then we were rented on the communication, and Mike Wilczek did have a good idea to put that on pause and work with the community as a committee, you know, until we worked it out this year, and the dues discount was a 2027 initiative because it required a lot of research, and it was bumped by certain board members about 2026. We need to be transparent to the community about what really happened.
So David did lead an effort, and he had a community, I'm gonna call it.
But he was never answered.
Is my understanding, so that was brought to the board, the
After the budget was passed.
we did receive, he did a very nice job of summarizing, providing a lot. That was brought to the board. It
Not
was,
till December. And
it
he,
could be even since December, it's been brought multiple times to the board.
but I believe he provided it prior to that, could have been considered during the budget process, the SDR stuff, but we had no information that that he had provided a proposal and analysis and any input whatsoever, because it was provided to two board members, you, Sherry, and
You
me.
mean before December, you mean before December.
October, before we passed the budget,
I'm
we
sorry.
were already.
I was just
Somewhere
clarifying, that since January, since this was made public, there have, many members have provided information and concerns to the board individually, and we have a very large community of people who've done it through the point person of data. That has been brought to the entire board, and it was a majority board decision, not every.
I agree, but I'm saying they provided info prior to the budget in October and wasn't shared with the entire board,
Okay, I-
so we weren't able to consider it. I want them
Who's
to
they,
know.
can you tell me who they was? Joanne, who are you referencing as they?
Oh, Dave, I think was the representative,
Community
but,
members during the board meetings from, I got you.
yeah.
I'm
We
sorry,
we didn't get any information that they could even contacted the board until we had already passed the budget. We
Well,
only
there
had
was
the,
many comments made during October.
they were quiet, that's why they weren't heard, the SDR people out yelled them. And then we weren't aware of what they wanted until after we passed the budget, which is why Wilczek suggested a pause and work with the committee, which was fair.
I think that Kathy Mueller was here almost every single meeting we had comment.
But you too as well. And
I
I can,
think, and I
I'm
think
share.
they're making comments every single meeting.
so basically, we're gonna expect some sort of transparency, because, I mean, the older board, as much as people didn't like or whatever, we still saw something. There was something tangible for us to see. Moving forward, it's just like we're not noticing, like, policies and rules pop out of nowhere and we don't know what's going on. So, again, transparency, every single one of us, including myself, because I ran, transparency. There was nothing done. So I don't see anything anymore.
I think like, it's not that people have stuff they're not getting, it's that we don't have a manager, we're struggling with many things. Things aren't executing to the point we have things to get out. Is what I'm gonna say. Does anybody disagree with that statement? Am I misrepresenting?
We're relying on the chair who is here part-time and is unpaid. And I will tell you that the manager that we had was working 7 days a week before he left. And that's how much work.
Yeah, sorry, our last manager was a trained rep, and I don't know what he was doing 7 days a week.
But he was here and there, right now, there is no one in that role and we're coming into the season. So it's.
Said you're on
Thank you.
Any reference comments?
Yeah, I just hope the board has open eyes when they look at this motion that was made for December. For the reserve, taking money from the discount,
So it was not an individual.
that's what I'm saying, the board who made it,
It's a budget.
it was a budget motion that was
It was
part of the
part of the
budget.
budget.
Next meeting that we discussed.
I was actually, if we don't have one, I think if we don't have one by a certain deadline.
Last what I heard was that they let us do this. Your shot, so it's this.
Yeah, if we don't, I would maybe make a request that the board consider if we don't have a manager identified within. Can I have a motion to adjourn? So,
This gentleman got a question.
all in favor of adjourning, hold on 1 second, all in favor of adjourning?
It is being taken.
I think it works every month.